Okay, so it seems like recently Dokibird and her fans have felt really let down by some of the recent stuff that's been going on in terms of the streamer awards. Now, this is something that was kind of going on yesterday, and the nominations were coming out, including stuff like the best VTuber, which there was a ton of people that got nominated, including like Chibidoki, iMouse, people like that. Again, really exciting to see. But there was one other award which Dokibird had her eyes kind of set on here, and yeah, people are pretty disappointed in the streamer awards and their kind of nomination system for this, which is the Marvel Rivals streamer. Now, this is a sponsored kind of category that is going to be featured at the streamer awards, and essentially, yeah, this is what is being kind of put up as the nominees, and this is who got nominated, being Big Puffer, Boga, Flats, Super, and also Tim the Tatman, which again, obviously some of them play, on and off. Some of them also apparently play like during only during sponsors, which I think is pretty crazy. But yeah, essentially, this was supposed to be a category celebrating a lot of the biggest Marvel Rivals streamers, right? And well, obviously Dokibird had some things to say, especially considering how much he does play Marvel Rivals and put on events and stuff for Marvel Rivals. And yeah, she says here, no nominations for Rivals. I won't lie, I actually got really sad not being considered, which again, yeah, does obviously, feel pretty sad, because whenever you go into a lot of the kind of points that, people are bringing up, the Stream Awards have done a very bad job in terms of their nominations for some of these kind of people, right? Because someone in the replies here was saying, for example, where is someone like Necros, who apparently is a really big Marvel Rivals streamer? And again, you can see they streamed over 301 watch hours compared to a lot of other people on this list, including people like Flats, who I still think deserves to be there. They've got almost 100,000 hours, and I'm not saying that all of these people don't deserve to be there. I do think some of them though don't have as many hours or as much time dedicated to the game. And obviously you got Tim the Tatman there with 61,000 watch hours, and obviously that suggests that there's a lot of other people below them with even less watch hours, right? Which I think is pretty interesting, considering obviously this is supposed to be dedicated to Marvel Rival streamers. So I was pretty interested by this, because obviously you can see the top streamer of this category on this kind of website that they're taking it off says they've got 301,000 hours watched. Okay, so that's how much someone has watched it, not how much they've streamed. Obviously that would, I don't know if that's even possible, but again, obviously, yeah, they've streamed more than the Marvel Rivals page have, which is pretty insane. And then yeah, you got in second place Flats and Tim the Tatman with like 61,000, 98,000. And then if you go to Dokibird, right, over on Twitch tracker here, and go to her Marvel Rivals section, you can see how many hours watched she has, which is over 509,000 hours watched, which, yeah, absolutely stomps all of these people, right? It absolutely stomps Necros. Is almost double of what they've done. But again, Necros definitely deserves to be there, because again, you can see they're literally at the top. I think Necros and Dokibird should have both been there, as well as, it's almost 5 times the amount of Flats, and also, I think, 10 times the amount of Tin the Tatman, and that's not even counting all of the other people that are included on this list, right? And somehow she didn't even get kind of mentioned for this, which I think is pretty insane, right? And I don't know if this is due to the fact of the sponsor didn't want her, on there, which would be a little bit weird, or if, it was because they're a VTuber. Again, I don't know, because it is really, really odd that they wouldn't include some of the top streamers, like the actual top streamers for Marvel Rivals, and instead obviously vote in some people who play it a little bit but don't really play it that often enough to warrant them being the best Marvel Rivals streamer, right? And yeah, she's been continuing talking about this, saying I soundproof my room so I could stream more Rivals in my free time. But honestly, it just made me feel super dejected, since I feel like I've talked about it so much, the game, even outside of streaming, but I have to accept that I'm not well known in the scene, that I'm sad. But I guess it kind of makes sense, since everyone that actually got nominated basically plays Rivals all day. And he said, I would say that's not really true with half the nominations, which is true. And I'm glad that Dokibird is actually talking about this, because many people, right, will be very happy to be like, oh, it's so sad that, I didn't get nominated, but oh well, all the other guys are great. But no, Dokibird is actually saying like, hey, that's not really true. A lot of these people barely even play the game, and they're being nominated for this, right? Yeah, I think it's just a popular vote / panel, and if you're known in the Twitch / normie space, which is 100% true, right? I feel like the reason why a lot of these people have been voted in is due to the fact, because obviously if you don't know how the Stream Awards nominations work, is that yes, they have fan votes and people can like kind of type in their own ones. But I'm pretty sure there's also a kind of panel as well that goes over them and, you know, decides who is going to be the final nominations, right? And I do think obviously there's going to be a lot of people who did vote for Dokibird. Like, let's be real. I don't know how much she kind of plugged it in her own stream, but we know how kind of dedicated Dokibird's fan base is, and VTuber fan bases are in general. You know, I'm not gonna believe that, you know, nobody kind of put her name in there, and I feel like, you know, she probably was considered behind the scenes, but wasn't picked at the end because, I don't know, maybe, yeah, she's not in with that crowd. She's not really, you know, part of the clique that goes on over in LA, right? And maybe that is the reason why she didn't get voted or nominated, sorry, for the best Marvel Rivals streamer. Now, I'm not even saying that, you know, Dokibird should be the one to win it or whatever. Like, sure, like I would like her to win it, but again, I think not being nominated is pretty insane, considering the playtime of a lot of these other people who have been, you know, nominated in here, and how much Dokibird actually spends her time promoting, playing, and yeah, having everything Marvel Rivals, right? Again, obviously, she follows up with another post saying, "Sorry for being a downer. I guess I was way too hopeful, confident because of my various antics with Rivals this year, and me being the rep for it on the VTuber side. So it really hit hard when the nominations got announced. I'm glad it's my rest day so I can reset myself. I'll be okay, and we have a fun week ahead. Thank you, Dragoons, for always believing in me. We might not have been nominated, but as long as I'm your favorite Rivals such FPS streamer and you have fun watching, that's all that matters to me." And yeah, you know, people saying plenty of nominees have actively streamed themselves voting through the whole event and encourage their fans to do, which directly impacts the community's awareness to vote for them. These nominations are coordinated in most scenarios. Said, "I did for a lot of my streams and for my Rival streams. I even advertised it in community posts and outside of Rivals." So yeah, Dokibird saying there that she did, you know, obviously advertise the fact that, like, hey, you know, I can be nominated for this award and I think I'm, you know, good enough and fit the requirements for it. So could you guys go over and nominate for me? So again, she has been, you know, kind of promoting it to her audience, but said, yeah, but I think I just didn't have the same reach for the category compared to the other nominees. Plus was not a popular figure on Twitch, which, yeah, that does suck, right? I do think that does suck. Even though she has put in like the most hours, maybe she hasn't had the most kind of popularity in terms of streams. As you can see here, max viewers when playing kind of Marvel Rivals is around 3K, which again, is still insane. And that's still a crazy amount of numbers, right? But, you know, people like Tim the Tapman and people like that get, you know, even more views, and potentially that's why they got added over her. But I do think it is kind of dumb that they have done this based off of like view count rather than like actual like hours watched and how much time they spent dedicated to the game. Because again, a lot of people in the comments have been like kind of claiming that, hey, you know, some of these people are just doing it for a hashtag ad and then just getting out of there, which obviously, yeah, many people are not too happy about it. Say, I think all these guys are cool as heck, but I'm surprised Dokibird wasn't included. One of the top tier streamers for Marvel Rivals, no hate for the others, just wish they were included too. 100%, you know, that's true. So you got Deme as well saying, nah, I don't even watch Marvel Rivals, and you're literally that poster streamer for the game. That's absolutely insane that you weren't nominated. You were valid to feel disappointed. Obviously, Vexoria as well saying, it is hard when you aren't recognized by your peers for or others for the work that you put in. However, you don't need an award to tell you that you're good enough and that you've had an impact. Keep on doing the amazing things that you're pushing the envelope. We're all cheering you on. So yeah, obviously a lot of support from my friends there, which again is great to see. But again, it is just very interesting that, you know, they haven't really been picked. I've never really liked the Stream Awards. I'm going to be honest. I do feel like a lot of it is kind of like, hey, are you my friend? Okay, I'll put you in for a nomination, right? They don't always win, to be fair. I think that those are like fully fan voted. But I do think a lot of streamers do get a little push forwards because they're friends with the host or the organizer, which I do think is a little bit like, okay, like what are we really doing here? But at the same time, you know, I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's their own stream rewards, they can do what they want. But yeah, it is obviously affecting people, and it's affecting obviously Dokibird here, who is a little bit disappointed to see that she wasn't included in it. And yeah, again, I totally agree that she should have been at least, you know, nominated for the award. But yeah, it just didn't happen, which definitely sucks. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.